let's go over some of that stand-up that we were reviewing the other day from the over-under clinch. Can I use your
Yes, sir.
Okay, you know, we're gonna come in and we're just starting in the over-under today, and I'm doing palm and fingers up, right? So if I am hugging here and he starts whizzing and cranking the shoulder into that, I might have to limp arm out. So I'm here, do that again. I've got a lot more integrity, a much stronger base against his whizzer. Okay, so here I'm going to reach to grab for the single leg, and when he steps back, I'm looking just to bow, right? I'm bowing and I'm stepping like this. Okay, we'll go over what happens if they maintain base and circle around here in a second. Okay, so we're here. Boy, find base here. Don't let me. Yes, good. So I'm here and you step back. That is what we have to exploit. Everything we do will be based off that. Okay, so find base. Yes, good. Okay, so find your balance here. Now, I've got to try and I touch. He steps back. Technically in judo, that would be the throw sumi-otoshi. It's like a no leg o-soto-gari, right? O-soto-gari meaning this. Okay? If you look at the components of what you're doing to throw them with that, what you're doing to finish, it's the same. Okay? So you're going under that arm like seoi-nage, like that throw. So think about that. This is a different grip. Not just something you use for seoi-nage, right? It's close. But people, almost everybody sees this and like, oh, seoi-nage, drop or lift. It's just that grip. I'm not turning around. Okay? So here we find base. I grab the single. Okay, so I went from here, I went under, stepped in back. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it, 1, 2. Why would we pick up that one? And yeah, you could go Ouchi. I personally, I like that one, okay, but a lot you have to initiate a guard pass when you do it, okay? So we'll look at a sidebar on this, okay? So let's say I pick up this single, okay? Because the last attempt I wasn't able to pick up the single, okay? So we're finding base here. Oh, I pick up the single. Watch what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna step over. O-soto. But while I'm holding on to a single leg. This one would have disappeared from judo since I made the leg grabbing movie. Right? So here, right, I grab for this single. And look, if the single's a little heavy, if I push into him, it makes it light. Push in and step up. Okay? And then pass. And I'm not doing a big read for anything. That application, not doing anything else with my leg, I was going going behind his leg, o-soto-otoshi. Okay? So here, I pick up the single, I step to the center and pass. O-soto. Make sense?
Sure.
So we're on that 1, 2. Let's see this other version, okay? So that was a question about, what are we doing with that single leg, right? Because, it's not a super favorable single to end up here in the center. He can jump guard. I've got this inside trip, but I got to pass. But if I step sideways, he's real off balance. And all I have to do is initiate that outside leg right now. The o-soto, okay? So here, let's go back into, he steps out of the single. I'm here, and let's say I'm a little late. It's more optimum on that very first technique we did for me to throw him while he's stepping out, to do the bow and step back. So I'm a little late, so he's gonna be able to arc around me when I'm here. That's perfect, okay? So let's initiate that again. I'm here, he steps back, he arcs around me. Also, look here, we got a nice little arm lock option. I'll try and finish that standing up, or you could drop back. Okay? So here, I'm single, right? He's stepping back, I bow. Make sense? Do 1, 2. How tight are your shoulders?
Not too tight.
Okay, good. Good thing we're not doing hula.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start in mount. Okay, let's just like, here's what I want to do. I want to overview this, the Americana. I'm going to talk about a key point I want everybody to take away. And that's them not being able to straighten their arm when you're going for it. That's everybody's test today, is to see if he can straighten his arm when I'm trying to Americana. Okay? So, after this, we'll get into some defenses. Right, there are some things we'll do. And go over an overview and then a follow-up also. Okay, so I want his hands to be kind of here. We go over some different entries, right? One thing I really like doing is I'll hook over and I pull, and then when he retracts, I hang into that. Okay, now it's at this point he may start trying to straighten your arm. Okay, because yes, right? I'm mobile, but I'm still kind of pinching with my knees, but I'm light. I got this hand basing. A lot of people will do this and you sacrifice momentarily the ability to base with one hand. And then two, I can get my hands pushed across my center, which would be one of the defenses we're going. Okay? So don't hook like this either. Yes. I'm hooking over. And I'm pulling in, and when and kind of connecting with my hips, so when he retracts, I lead in with that elbow, try and straighten. Here. Right? Now, part of the problem with bench pressing it to the mat with both hands is then you cut yourself off from being able to go under. And there's some things you can do for that, like palm up, digging under. That's an option I've seen taught a lot, right? But if you change your entry and you go with this leading with your elbow to the mat and your monkey grip over, not the top of his hand, but around, right? I'm touching his forearm here on the inside with my grip. I pull, he pulls back, connect in, lead in with that elbow. Be trying to straighten this whole time. Okay, so look, sometimes you're just gonna need to be light with this knee, and you can go here and get the tap. That took way too long. You do have good shoulders. Good job. I wish I had that. I would be like, only do the move on this shoulder, please. That's as I've been having people show this on me, and it's like, it's one side only, right? So here, this adds a little more weight. Then two, look, motorcycle grips. That quickened it a lot. Okay, so look here. I'm thinking about swinging like this, like a baseball bat. All right, so here, boom. Now, there's two ways to distribute weight. Being just light with the knee, and if I'm light with the knee, I can shift my hips off the side here, okay? And that takes a lot of slack out of that arm, okay? So again, we want not this, here. I'm pulling, it's a distraction, like a misdirection. He thinks I'm maybe going for an arm bar. I come in here, elbow to the mat, try and straighten. Right here, start shifting weight. Okay. Any questions on that?
Is there a negative to keeping the elbow on the collarbone?
You mean,
Instead of taking it to the mat?
yeah, I get a little more leverage when I go all the way down. For sure, it clears the way, right? Now, if you're like levering here and then you're just gonna lift up the elbow and then come in, I think that's fine. It's like you couldn't get it to the mat. Here's what I like to do this. Be like real tight, don't give me anything. All right, I'm gonna dig in on this top arm against all his resistance, and I still got it to the mat. Boom. Right? And two, once I achieve it, the more you struggle, like I was like, don't give me anything. He wouldn't give me anything. And like, but once I get it, all that tension, it wound him so tight that as soon as I hooked it up, he's like, okay, we're done. Yeah. And this, the way we're talking about it, guys, is it does, like I said, remove the slack. It makes it tight. You saw that first one I did where it had slack in. And it's like, okay, hey, shifting the hips. We can do some things to make that leverage better, to make the submissions come on quicker. All right? I want to. Let's go over the next thing here with a great option for when they start defending. So there's a couple ways that you can defend and a couple ways you don't want to defend. And we'll go over just the, sort of the basic two concepts here. So now, a gift wrap is always going to be an option when you start doing this to somebody and they bring their other arm across their own center line in defense. Okay? So, gift wrap, I learned this is a white belt. Anytime both hands are on one side, you can put the person in a gift wrap. If you're on top in a pin, like side control, full mount, right? So, like here, if all I did was move my chest over and do that, I have the gift wrap. So, a commonly taught defense is when I'm going for an Americana of any kind, he reaches across, right? When that happens, move your chest over and pin his arm, and you've got gift wrap, right? And still control this hand. That's nothing wrong with that. Now, I like to, on the gift wrap, what I'm gonna start doing, turning the belly down. You can take their back like a traditional back mount, but like here, turning your belly down is gonna be a solid approach, right? Now, if I'm coming in here for control, arching forward, and I want, you're trapping your own arm here. And then I've got 2-on-1 here, right? And then I'm gonna start pummeling for choke. Okay, so anytime he reaches across. Now, there does become like a little nuance with, let's say I go late and he reaches over the arm, yeah, right here, okay? So with this one, like look how I'm pinning and then going here. But still controlling this arm, super good idea. You wanna do the traditional back take we always do? Here. Or from gift wraps, you pull them down, okay? One hand on the mat, or earlier I showed it. Here. Okay, now, taking the back or the rear mount. If I'm going early and he reaches under my arm. So before we reached over, gift wrap's real simple. Here he reaches under, yes, I can still gift wrap. But what I'm gonna do is continue to push his arm to the mat, come up into a technical mount with my knee behind his head, okay? Now look, if he's holding his hand, fine. Pull away at his wrist, see how his wrist bent there? Here. I keep my hand on his hand, all right? Now, this knee is heavy, so how am I gonna step over his head? Make it light. Here, okay? Lean back, take the slack out. Taking my knees in like this. I didn't even do anything with my hand other than when I had it initially. You want to 2-on-1 it? Pull some more slack out if you need to. I got a lot, I removed a lot of slack as I was going back, all right? So, back from the beginning. Here, he goes under. Keep pushing his hand down. Slide your knee up behind his head so he can't turn back to his back. Okay, now, take the arm. If you can't take the arm, there's ways to take the arm after you step over the head. There is. If he's got this in place, he's probably not gonna go stop your leg from going over. Now the problem, the knee's heavy. If I shift weight over this leg here, the knee's real light. And I'm keeping this so he can't grab his hands. And look, there, here. Let's review. You get on top of me.
Yes.
Okay, so go Americana. All right, yeah, I like that, good. I go over to stop you though. I'm like, no. Okay, so yeah, grab and just go get that. Yes. Okay, Good. So you got rear mount or back mount? Right. I like this, yes. Okay, if you feel like you need a hand on the mat for base, maybe they're a lot bigger than you. Okay, pull my head that way with the gift wrap. Yes, see how that gave you what you wanted. Okay, now put me back in technical mount, please. Trap this hand to my hip. Right, so go back to gift wrap, right? So you got gift wrapped and then trap this hand to my hip with this hand. Now sit me up and take my back. That's what I always do. Right, yes. Whoa. Good. You got those two up. That's when I go over your arm. Come back. Everybody, so look, go Americana again. Look what I mean by going over the arm. You see that? Okay? Let's say they do it the way where it's like start trying to bench press it. Right? Like here. That sort of idea, right? Like I might be pulling grips off, but I come under the arm to try and grab. There's different, facets to this based off how he's gripping and the timing of it, like how you time it. So when he comes down, I'm coming here, okay? So from here, Justin, just keep pushing down with both hands, actually. Boom, yes, so you keep this hand pinning this hand. Yes, okay? Now take the arm, I keep that one on my hand, and then take the arm with this hand.
Oh, I got you.
Yes, yes, tight mount, yes, boom. Okay, good. Now, see how that knee's heavy?
Yep.
It's where it needs to be. Take it a little tighter to my head. But yeah, now move your head that way. And you'll be light on it. Now swing it over my head. Yes. Whoa. And you got the arm bar. Okay? So guys, and look, from that option, you could also gift wrap. Over under, you can gift wrap. Anytime both hands cross the center, you can gift wrap. But you got gift wrap, traditional back take, like that way we always do it, but like rear mount is one of the most dominating positions in all fighting. Like the argument is whether that or like regular full mount is more dominant right now. Like in the jiu-jitsu culture, like Hodger Gracie's like, it's mount. Everybody else is like, it's the back, right? But that's some options off the Americana, okay?
Is that what they're calling S mount?
When you switch your legs like that, S mount, technical mount, modified mount, Hickson and Henry Akins and old school Gracie people call it side mount. Most of jiu-jitsu calls side, what we call side control, like side mount. They say it's mount when they turned on their side. So technical mount, but nuance. It's, we're going here and they turn on their side and we are kind of coming up on one knee and we always refer to that as technical mount.
I just think because it looks like you're doing an S stretch on this.
When you do, when you're here and you start doing the head turning details, that's when it turns into more of an S mount, right? But people hold S mount and play S mount as a system. Like Hobson Moore, like he was a big time proliferator of S mount when I was like coming up through the color belts, right? Has like a whole instructional on it. And at the time that he was experiencing success with it, it was popular in the culture too, right? This has been over 10 years ago. But S mount, technical mount, what's cool is I've seen this for almost 20 years and like we've had, internet and YouTube and all of these waves of technology come through and you see the changes of the names, what like people in the culture referring to this or that, and they have changed a couple of times in some cases. I start to like Dring and some of the older school guys about it and they're like, oh, it used to be called this. Anyway, all right, let's work on it. 1, 2. As long as you like on some of the stuff. And we can continue to talk about it. You can always, I encourage people all the time, like, and it doesn't always happen, sometimes it does, but I'm like, hey, right before the next class, if you can remember, ask me, and I teach a whole class on it, right? Like whatever it is. So just, keep that in mind if you need questions answered or one more time. That's why we film things, all right? So you put me in mount, sir. So first off, this is a concept. As I mentioned, like some people are still not going to do the Americana the way we talked about today. Okay, and whether you do one hand or both, right? Go ahead and push it down to the mat, and then like I said, there exists that problem of okay, well now he has to get this hand under. Go ahead and just get the hand under. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, you're able to do it, you know. You gotta kind of, you can't push down too hard with that one and stuff, right? So now go ahead and do it. Right, all I'm doing is really adding weight to my arm with this hand, or with this foot, okay? I'm pushing weight with my foot into my hand, my arm, my shoulder, down to the mat, okay? Go ahead and come back. Now, here's another one, okay? That's like, you know, early phase, he can't get his hands together, depends on his setup a little bit. The other one is go ahead and go in, here. Go in on this side, here. Go in on this side, here, okay? So look, I step my foot outside of my hip line here. This one's inverted, right? I'm taking my heel up to the ceiling of my right leg, right? And now I want to clear my hip line, right? I need to get outside of his knees a little bit. Sometimes I might need to move my shoulders, especially if he is pinching, okay? Now, I recover guard by bringing the top leg in first. Here, I'm either close guard or I stay butterfly and sit up here, okay? Get both arms on one side, you got a back take. So that's just 2-on-1 hip escape, okay? So he's here, boom. I'm hip escaping. Sometimes they fall off if you, it happens. Okay, now, the other one is he goes to do that, right? Go ahead and, boom. And I'm here, and he pushes back into me, starts bringing his chest back down. That's when I'm gonna be here. Bridge and roll. So those, you know, bridge and roll, hip escape, knee elbow, those are the 3 main mount escapes. Right, going under the legs, going hipping out of the legs, or bridging and rolling. Let's look at that bridge and roll one more time. So you'll do this 2-on-1 grip sometimes, right? So he's here and I'm pushing away and he senses that, so he comes back in an overcorrection. That's when I'm doing the upa escape. Okay? So just work through some defenses with your partner and then we'll roll a bit. Okay? 1, 2.